Right.
Whether it's 2 hours sitting in a pregnancy center or 2 hours standing on the street, it's still costing that person 2 hours of time, whoever's giving it. So
yeah, and but the root problem that we're dealing with abortion is the culturally ingrained sin of ageism, discrimination based on age. So the root of the problem is sin against God, and a lot of pro-life people think that anti-abortion ministry is all about helping needy women. We should be helping needy women, but that's not the solution to the problem. The solution to the problem is the gospel, and so we should be proclaiming the gospel to millions of people in the streets. We should be proclaiming the gospel at the killing facilities. We should be going out and addressing the specific sin of ageism that people are living in, so that they stop discriminating against babies. And even if they don't come to Christ, because of God's common grace, they can see the evil of this when we show them the brutal nature of it, you know?
Oh, I've got the pictures. I've got the pictures in my desk at school. I've got the comparison of the Holocaust, of the Jewish Holocaust and the abortive Holocaust.
Okay.
And the details and all of that stuff.
Yes.
I know that, like even with my neighbor who doesn't know the Lord, Jewish lady, 75, scared, spitless over all the pandemic stuff, and I had hoped. I'm reading a Jewish translation, a Messianic Jew translated the Bible, and I'm reading that, not this one, but that one this year. Asked her if she'd do it with me, got her the thing, and it was like, I am not comfortable with this, and gave it back. And see you in our house. Okay, thanks. And it's like, just thinking about her last night, going, Jesus has to be on the table and be an unavoidable issue for her, because if she catches the virus and I don't see her for 3 days and find out she's in the hospital and gone, then she never got the gospel. Yeah. But if the soil is so hard that it can't get a seed, it doesn't matter if I give her the gospel. It's like that thing. There's got to be digging and digging and water and digging and digging and water, and then finally I can get that seed in there. But it's like this has been get off. Hey, I'm going to the grocery store. Do you need anything? Oh my gosh, how did you hear me? I was cursing at my house, and here she had gone to the grocery store twice that day and didn't get everything that she needed for her recipe. So it's like, I didn't hear you, but God heard you, and I prayed for you, so He told me. Yeah. But that it's like there's trust that's coming. So it's like I could the soil is getting a little more workable, but it's still not quite time where I can put a seed in there and expect that anything's going to happen to that seed. And so that's, the church needs to wake up to all kinds of different things. Yep,
and we need to prioritize the needs of people in our community, and publicly accepted mass murder should be a very high priority for us. So we should allocate time and resources according to the level of need. So we should be dedicating a lot of time and resources to fighting publicly accepted genocide. And most Christians aren't doing that. They're not living the same way they would live if born people were being massacred inside local killing centers.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
So it's not only that people aren't doing things, they're doing things, but they're not living like these children have the same value as born people. They're not living the same way they would if they were in a genocide on born people. So we need to think about, how would I live my life if I knew that 9-year-old children were regularly being taken into a killing center in my city to be slaughtered? What would I do about that? Would I donate money to a place that that welcomes in potential killers so that they don't murder their 9-year-old children? Or would I go to where the 9-year-old children are murdered to try to stop it when it's happening? Would I go out in the streets and cry out for justice and show people how brutal it is while many of them are supporting the murder of 9-year-old children? There's certain actions that need to be taken. There's certain methodology that needs to be taken. It's very important. Methodology matters. But the current methodology in churches these days is not going to abolish abortion. And that's what we should be trying to do, abolish it in law. And you have a lot of pro-life people in the churches who are supporting the regulation of abortion. They support like a 20-week abortion ban or a heartbeat bill that only protects some babies. And those bills implicitly tell people that certain babies who are less developed, it's okay for them to be murdered.
So are you okay with there not being any laws?
Well,
I mean, like if there was a ban on a third trimester abortion and it was an option to pass that bill, would you rather just have it be legal to abort third trimester babies so that...
I wouldn't support that, because that bill is actually perpetuating the mindset that we're trying to defeat.
Because, I mean, I know that there are plenty of abortionists who it's like, you should be able to kill the baby up till they're 2 years old. It's like, well, what makes a 2-year-old different than a 1-year-old plus 364 days? You know, nothing. But, you know, so there's, I mean, so I understand that issue. Life is life, period.
Yeah. So our job as Christians is to call people to repent and follow Jesus. So we should be doing that for legislators. So calling a legislator to repent and follow Jesus Christ involves telling that legislator that the law of God is the standard by which he should judge justice, and the law of God is what he should implement in society. And the God's law says, "Thou shalt not murder." God's law doesn't regulate murder. And so the job of the magistrate or the legislator is to write the law that protects all people from murder, that gives the death penalty to murderers when they murder any person. But that's not what a pro-life bill will do. A pro-life bill will seek to work within the preferred framework of the Supreme Court and try to bow down to the Supreme Court and appease the Supreme Court, when all we need to do is just defy the Supreme Court, write into law the death penalty for people who murder their preborn children in every stage of life. That's what God demands. And so we should call people to do that. And when they don't do that, when they say, "Oh, we can't do that, we'll just do it this, we'll just regulate it, we'll save some babies by regulating it, that will be better than nothing," we have to say, "No, that's sin. Legislator, you're sinning against God. You can't write that bill. That's sin for you to write that regulatory bill. Repent and write the abolition bill. Support the abolition bill." Just because, our job is to always call people to repent, and even if they don't repent immediately, we continue to hold them to God's law, and we don't give in and say, okay, we'll support you with that regulatory bill. It's okay for you to sin by regulating murder. We'll support you in that because we just want to save some babies. Well, we'll save some babies through this. No, we will abolish abortion faster when everybody who claims to be pro-life demands that the legislators write a bill of abolition. But if all these people who are pro-life support the regulation of murder, it just keeps going on and on and on and on. And so many more children will be murdered in the long run because they just kept regulating it, when we could have all just demanded it be cut off completely now, and then it will happen sooner and more children will be saved in the end. So doing it God's way will save more children. But people think they can save more children by doing it their pragmatic way, in which they think they can come up with the best way to save the most babies. But when you do it according to what God says, you'll save the most.
What's your name?
My name is Matt.
Matt. Sure.
Good to meet you.
From here?
No, I'm from I live in the Atlanta area.
Like today you don't live here?
I do not live in this area.
What brought you here?
I like to travel. I'm a street preacher. I like to preach in different cities. So I decided to drive down here and preach. I was out on Bourbon Street last night, in the French Quarter doing...
With these signs or with something else?
I was in the French Quarter on Decatur Street with a sign like this, with my friend, and then later on last night, and then later on, I didn't have a sign on Bourbon Street. It was just like a bunch of people, the nightlife, you know.
A bunch of people?
Yeah, tons of people.
I believe it's New Orleans. Of course, that's not New Orleans. This is also New Orleans, so...
Yeah.
Most people think of that when they think of New Orleans, but that's only actually, that's usually tourists, but...
Okay.
There's regulars, plenty of regulars out too.
Okay.
Do you live in Atlanta? And you're from Atlanta?
Well, I live near Atlanta, but I've lived in Illinois most of my life.
Where are you from in Illinois?
Chicago area.
I was with a friend yesterday. Just drove So.
Okay. So are you familiar with Wheaton College?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I went to Wheaton College.
Cool. How old are you?
28.
And then it's like, I'm not much older than I think I am. Yeah. Because I've known people there in the past, but then I was, as my friend and I were walking last night, she's old enough to be my mom, but her son is young enough to be my child.
Okay.
And, anyway, he's working on his doctorate there.
Okay. Nice.
But we were just talking about the campus and stuff, and it's like, I feel like I've spent a lot of time there.
Okay.
I've plowed through probably 20 of Elizabeth Elliot's books.
Okay.
So all the different angles of, whatever. So there's
okay.
Campus life, and then my aunt, she worked at DuPage, but she lived in Wheaton for years, and then Carroll Stream for a long time. And I visited her in Carroll Stream, but I only remember like signs like Glen Allen and whatever. And
okay.
And then I remember what her apartment looked like, and I do not remember the surrounding area, except I've driven around Chicago, through Chicago, completely avoided Chicago, and gone up through Rockford.
Okay.
Whatever, but, yeah, so
nice.
Yeah. So you're Matt.
Yep.
It's nice to meet you.
Good to meet you.
And I hope that your faithfulness to God is fruitful.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Take care.
Thanks.